Orientation is locked. Rotate device. I don't know how to get you the angle here, Eli. So yeah, we'll just have that one light on. We're gonna have to monitor it too and like see how people are responding and whatnot.
Hey everyone, welcome to the live stream.
It's a good intro.
We have one person.
One person. What's going on? One person.
Drop a comment.
Drop a comment if this is live. What's going on to everybody rewatching this that will be rewatching this after it's live? We are just now returning from our expedition up into Maine here the past 4 days it's been almost.
We're live.
Okay, cool. We got a comment. Yeah, so I don't know. We were going to do this earlier, but time kind of snuck up on us, so we're just sort of... What's going on?
You don't want that light on?
We can do it, yeah. I mean, it doesn't really bother me that much.
Okay.
It's fine. That's fine. We can just
too.
have the one light on. Can that be like rotated?
Hello from a Flatlander.
Hello from a Flatlander.
That's what they're saying.
Is there any way to not have it sideways like that? It's really annoying. How does it show the messages? Okay.
Wasn't expecting you at all. I don't even know who you are, but we'll sub anyway.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Why is it the orientation is locked again? Will it rotate? Sorry, guys. We're just trying to figure this out. We're just driving in the car right now. My orientation is not... The lock screen is not locked. See, I don't have orientation lock on. So, anyway, all right. Well, we're just returning, as we said, from our trip here to Maine. We've been filming for the past 4 days in northern Maine.
Heading up to Maine next week. Canoe camping. Cheers.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, we were in the Allagash Wilderness Waterway, North Maine Woods region, just sort of north of Katahdin. Very, very wild area. We're just heading back now. I mean, we've been driving all day. We left this morning from camp there, but man, it was intense. But so, this is Eli Watson, Cryptic Campfire. You guys have obviously seen him on some of the live streams before. You can go ahead and just read the comments whenever, jump right in.
Wound up in a little bit of a pissing contest about...
Oh man, my legs still itch from these black flies. Yeah, how does it like display the whole chat?
Okay, wound up in a little bit of a pissing contest about Bigfoot being evil, etc. What?
Whatever, just it's fine.
I don't know, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to read your comment.
Yeah, this is being weird. The stream is being kind of weird.
etc. With my girl today, she gets so ridiculous no matter what they... Wow, that sounds a little personal.
Yeah.
Had my sighting on the shore of Chesanuck Lake about 4 years ago.
Whoa, Chesanuck Lake? I'm pretty sure we literally drove right past there. Yeah, that's right in that area. That's crazy. I'd love to hear more about that story. So yeah, basically, long story short, the reason why we're up there, we're filming the latest Beyond the Trail of episode about Bigfoot in Maine. So last weekend, I actually went up to the International Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, interviewed Nate Brislin, who's a researcher in Maine, as well as Michelle Souliere, who's been on the show before.
Oh, he says he's told you about that before.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I'm just still processing from this weekend, but we did a bunch of interviews. Then this past Friday, as we were driving up to Maine, we went to the Cryptozoology Museum. We were interviewing Lauren Coleman, obviously the founder of the museum, as well as Gene Tewksbury, who works at the museum as a Maine Bigfoot researcher. So we did that, and on the way up to the Katahdin area, we interviewed Chris Julian, who's a longtime Bigfoot researcher in Maine. Really cool guy. Super interesting to talk to all those guys. And then from there, we basically headed right up into the woods in Maine. And we'll read the comments in a couple minutes here as soon as I get this story out. But so yeah, so we headed up into the woods. We camped in 2 different spots, but primarily one spot was kind of our research location. We were there for 2 nights, and sort of 3 days, I suppose, as we left today. But then we all right, looks like we're back. All right, well, if you want to read the comments, I guess you can just honestly just take it like this.
Yeah,
and
let's
just
see.
read the comments.
Hello, everyone. You are going to see my face for a little bit. What's up, guys? Hope the trip was enlightening.
Who said that?
That was Bigfoot Anon. Would you
Cool.
say it was enlightening?
Yeah, totally. What would you say? I mean, it was your first time up there. Give your initial impressions.
It was definitely a really wild area. Like, I'm from California, like Southern California specifically, so we don't really have anything in the way of being like that wooded or that green, really. I mean, I was making a joke earlier about the pond we were at. Okay, I will speak up louder. I'm getting comments about me being quiet. I've never seen anything so green in my whole life. I was making a joke earlier, though. The pond we were staying at is a pretty large pond, as it was called. But in SoCal, we would probably call it a lake. But it's just different. It's a different environment. Anyways.
Totally.
What else we got? Everett Menard says, so I went in Connecticut here. It's a little bit shaky, so forgive me if I misread the comments. And so I went in Connecticut here and Lisbon. Very wooded area, very rural, very close to a landfill. Dead straight road at 8 p.m. It was dark and had to have seen the headlight. This thing waited until we were 20 feet from it before it decided to bolt into the woods.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
So Brian and Chewy go hiking. That's Brian. Awesome. What's going on, man? He says, anything out of the ordinary happen up there? I'm not going to say too much because obviously it's going to be in the production, but there was, it's an interesting area. There's a lot of wildlife, a lot of stuff going on in that area. Super wild. I don't know why it keeps telling me the orientation is locked. All right, just don't mess with it. It's fine. Just
can I play with it real quick?
Okay.
No. Wait. I'm from San Diego and I researched 4 Bigfoots here. I would be very interested in hearing more about that. I am very close to San Diego County. I'm in Riverside County. So if you have any information on Bigfoot in Southern California, I would be very much interested in hearing about it.
Definitely hit him up.
Just the best way to reach me would probably be my email. Feel free. It's for my podcast. So I would say info@cryptidcampfire.com. And I'm sure Alex could type that in later, or
yeah. So anyway, guys, it's been definitely a heck of a trip. We're all pretty tired. We just dropped off Carrick St. Laurent of Crash Course Cryptozoology. Still had like an hour to kill, so we just decided to kind of randomly jump on the stream here. Since there was no show today. Next week we will be having a show. Be joined by, I believe, Kenzie Gleason, who has a podcast and who's a fellow New Hampshire researcher. We're going to talk about the wood devils of New Hampshire, sort of the local variant of Bigfoot stories. There's stuff crashing in the background here. This car is packed to the brim with just equipment and everything else, so pretty intense. But let's see, I think we had another comment here. I don't know if you want to go ahead and just read that off, whatever.
Hey guys, good evening.
I have to know who's. It'd be helpful.
It's from Remiel Acosta.
What's going on? How's it going?
Filipino survivalist. It's also what it says.
Yeah. So, it was interesting to hear about Eli's initial impressions of the area. I've only been up to really that Great North Woods, or that Maine North Woods area, once before last summer, and we had moose come charging through our camp at 6 a.m. Now we saw one moose this trip. It ran out in front of us. We had some other, interesting stuff, some bear sightings, that kind of stuff. But we did have some cool evidence that we found. So
yeah. Speaking of moose, are we showing the?
Yeah, we can do a little show and tell here.
All right, hold on. Let's go around this loop real quick before
let's just get
I
on.
drop anything.
Let's get on the highway.
Remiel, I saw that you said hello to both me and Alex.
Hello to you too.
Hello back. Oh my goodness. I am just really tired, I promise.
Yeah, we both probably don't look the greatest. Spontaneous sort of stream.
Yeah, we found some cool moose. We found a lot of evidence of moose out there. It was like basically the only thing we found out there.
Everything. I mean, it's everywhere. They're everywhere, the moose.
All right, cool. So I'm going to show off.
Just take that.
So our buddy Carrick St. Laurent found this moose bone here.
Moose femur.
Moose femur. Oh, it's a little cracked, but down by the pond where we were at. Pretty sick, pretty sizable, as you can see. But it was the only bit of the moose that we were able to find.
You should show the area with the
that connects to the femur. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Oh yeah. So you see this little indent. It connects. The nerves would connect to the. What'd you call it?
It's the artery.
The artery, the femoral artery.
Femoral artery.
Femoral artery.
Femoral artery. Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So it connects from the bone to this little section here. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to find that. I mean, a lot of people do shed hunting for antlers, when the sheds happen. So we were kind of hoping to see something like that, but we got lucky with the bone. I think it was just an accidental sort of discovery, but really awesome that Carrick was able to find that.
And then just behind our camp, there was a little game trail that we found, and Alex was able to find and cast some moose track. So you can see this is actually it's really well preserved.
Yeah, it came out pretty nice.
Yeah.
About 5-6 inches long, so it looks like a hind leg because the way it's splayed, you can see there's a large indent in the middle. So the hind legs typically kind of splay a little more than the front hooves on the moose. So kind of cool to see.
So North County Bigfoot says, last week I saw something that I've never seen before. He had something strange happen to him, he says. Yeah, last week I had something strange happen that I've never seen before. Everett Menard says, like I heard it said, you don't need to look for them. You just go out there and they seem to know how to find you. Yeah, I mean,
that was kind of the MO. We just sort of tried to see if we could get anything in there, and like I said, without saying too much, it was an interesting time.
Yeah, you guys will eventually see this entire adventure on film.
Yeah, really excited to show the whole area, just the beauty of the nature out there. That's the biggest thing I think I'm excited to showcase, because I think a lot of people have this misconception of Maine as being, just basically a state with coast, Stephen King, lobster rolls, that kind of stuff. That's the Bar Harbor, Acadia National Park, that's the stereotype. But once you get away from the coast, it's all woods, it's all wild, absolutely wild land. I mean, the county we were in, and I'm going to butcher this as I always do, Piscataqua County. Don't hate me, it's just a very complicated spelling. That county is the size of the state of Connecticut, yet has a population of about 17,000 people. So it's just mostly logging camps, small towns, and then vast swaths of wilderness, which are some of the least populated areas on the entire East Coast, basically anywhere east of the Rockies, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, no, it's a totally wild area. It's considered to be a frontier county, and you can fit basically all of the rest of New England into Maine, which I always find interesting. So, yeah, we found some cool stuff. I don't know if there's anything else.
Let's see. Stag Shift Zaya says, how do you guys think Sasquatch hunt? Also love all the STM stuff you guys do. Very good question. I've heard of actually flanking maneuvers that they've done, supposed from hunters who were hunting deer, supposedly, and this is all like, please don't quote me on this. This is like hearsay of hearsay.
Yeah.
But basically what I have heard is that they'll flank deer, so one will show up on one side of the pack and scare them off into the other, who will like basically grab them or whack them with a stick real hard, basically murder them like that. But I would think they're also omnivorous as well, meaning they don't eat exclusively meat, but they also eat, I know, man, I'm gonna get really nerdy here, but some of the old-time cryptozoologists think like the Yeti would eat rhododendrons because they contain a lot of salt in them, so it'd almost be like eating chips for us. Ooh, let's see. God is Great Always says, first time here, what do you guys think of Sasquatch Ontario? Is that a YouTube channel, or is that just Sasquatch in Ontario?
I think probably the YouTube channel. I don't know. I've heard some questionable stuff. I don't like discussing, people's YouTube stuff unless they're like attacking me or attacking people I know. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. I think that like so many of these channels out there, people are trying to make content. I don't know. Maybe they're doing some questionable things. I don't know enough, honestly, about it. I don't really care, to be totally honest. But back to the Sasquatch hunting question. That's really interesting you bring that up. I mean, humans, a lot of times when they're hunting, and I don't know the term, but you're basically trying to outmaneuver the deer, and you're basically having people in like a grid, almost 4 people, and you're pushing deer in a certain direction. So let's say you have 3 guys coming through the woods. They're basically pushing a deer into the direction of the one guy who's actually going to take the shot. Now that's illegal in a lot of places, but people have hunted like that traditionally throughout history. Obviously other types of animals, so maybe there's something like that going on, but there's plenty of sightings of them eating blueberries, other natural resources, so I would also guess omnivorous in the sense that opportunistic. Probably in the winter months in a place like northern Maine, there's like nothing that grows. I mean, the only real green you have left are rhododendrons, and then pine. Well, I mean, Maine is called a pine tree state. There's cedar swamps, there's that kind of stuff, piney areas. I guess you could eat some of that stuff. Pine needles, that's actually, pine needle tea is pretty healthy for you. But meat would definitely be a good thing to eat in the winter, whereas in the summer, you have a plethora of resources. That just goes with the animals, larger animals that live in that area, we can kind of look at some of those patterns. Obviously not totally analogous, because bears hibernate, whereas moose are around year round. I mean, they don't hibernate or anything like that, even though they're an ungulate, so they only eat, they're herbivores. But yeah, check out that comment.
Oh, back. Sorry, we left for a second when you exited.
Oh yeah.
Bigfoot Anon says, what's up, Remiel? I had a great weekend at Infinity Con. It just looks like a
conversation.
Conversation.
If there's anything like relevant to our conversation in the comments.
Did you see the interview I did with the police officer that saw Goatman? Whoa.
Who's that?
That's Bigfoot Anon.
Oh no.
And he's talking about he's talking to Remiel.
Okay, all right. Sorry, it's tough. Like when I'm not. I know you don't do the live stream, so it's hard to kind of tell what's conversation, what's not. People like to have fun in the comments.
No, they're talking. Remiel and Bigfoot Anon are talking. So
that's fine.
North County Bigfoot says there was a report of 2 guys watching 5 Bigfoots navigating a hunt.
That's a pretty wild report. I'd be really interested to know more about that. But yeah, I mean, like throwing a rock, right? I mean, if people report rock throwing, imagine being so precise to be able to throw a rock and strike something, or just being witty enough. I mean, deer are not the smartest of animals. They're not dumb by any means. I mean, they have good natural instincts. So something like a primate, whether it's a human or otherwise, probably will outsmart a deer.
Hey! Let's see, let's read this comment. This comes from Bigfoot Anon. Alex, you check it out too, brother. He's talking about the Goatman.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I just haven't had time lately. We've been planning this trip, and honestly, it's really exhausting. When you're up there battling with the conditions, I mean, what was the most annoying thing? And I know the answer, but what was the most annoying thing about being up there in North Maine?
The bugs. Dude, the bugs were relentless, both day and night.
They just don't give up. I mean, a lot of these northern areas where it gets really cold in the winters, that summer season is short, so these bugs go nuts.
Yeah.
I had a bug net, which was the saving grace, but man, my legs are covered in big bloody welts from the black flies and, you know, just everything coming at you, the mosquitoes. We saw a black bear that was just covered in bugs. He had like a cloud around him almost. Felt really bad for it almost, but
Yeah.
that's just how it is out there.
He also said, loved the episode on Bessie the cryptid campfire.
Oh, that's cool.
Thanks for checking that out, man. That means a lot to me. Stag Shift Zaya says, speaking of rock throwing, I could easily see them using that for hunts.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have speculated that. I mean, it would make sense. Heard some pretty interesting rock, even recently, rock throwing encounters. It's like the preciseness of some of this is crazy. I mean, people can be that precise, but imagine having more strength and just being able to strike a deer. I don't know. I mean, again, this is so, as Eli said, this is so out there, hearsay about hearsay, speculation about people's speculation. But we can only guess because we don't really have, aside from anecdotal evidence, we don't have anything else to go by, essentially.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll be traveling soon, and I will not be back if you want to take my research over. North County Bigfoot.
I'm not sure what you mean. Feel free to hit me up, shoot me an email, or just leave your email in the comments or something if you care to do that. But probably emailing me is the easiest.
Yeah.
It's just sasquatchoutoftheshadows@gmail.com. But yeah, guys, it was a really great trip. I mean, we made it work as much as we could, and I'm excited to show people kind of visually what it looks like. Like I said, that's probably one of my favorite things about it, is just showcasing the nature and how different it is maybe for people that aren't from this region. You know, why Maine would be a suitable habitat for something like a Sasquatch. So I think that'll be cool. I'm going to start working on that pretty much right away. Hopefully that'll be out in July, should be. But we have a lot of other cool adventures planned.
Yeah, stay tuned, man. We're going to be going everywhere. You name it, we're going. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Singapore's next. No, I'm joking. Sandra Piper says, hello, chat friends.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, if anyone has any specific questions about the project or northern Maine or anything like that, feel free to throw it in. We still got a little bit of time here. We're just kind of sitting in the car. We have about 30 minutes till we're back. Eli is heading back out to California here soon. So, it was an interesting trip being out here. But something I want to ask you, actually, Eli, while people are typing or kind of in the chat.
Okay, what's going on?
I mean, in general, you talked about your impression of Maine, but after this trip, but before going into it, what did you think about Maine? Like, had you ever really thought much about Maine?
No. Like you said earlier, I mean, really the biggest thing I associated with Maine, before I got into cryptozoology, I didn't think about Maine at all. Maybe like lighthouses. Then I found out about the International Cryptozoology Museum, which we went to, and Alex is, good friends with Coleman and everything, and so there was that. And then I found out Stephen King lives there, and so I kind of associate a lot of Stephen King with Maine, and that was about it. I didn't expect anything like what we were in at all. I mean, that stuff is very comparable to like the Pacific Northwest. I mean, it's just as dense, it's just as wild and wide open. I mean, it's like really blown my mind.
What did you think about seeing that moose, or seeing a moose for the first time in your life,
Dude,
in real life?
It was huge because I had started falling asleep. So the problem is, in this current state of my life, I work overnights, and now I'm on the East Coast, which is 3 hours ahead. So I didn't sleep like the entire night before we drove up from New Hampshire to northern Maine, and that was an all-day drive.
Yeah, well, because we did a lot of stops along the way, yeah.
And so by the time we were driving on these dirt roads, I was like falling asleep, going in and out. And I had just fallen asleep, and I hear Alex scream, "Look, there it is!" And I'm kind of like, maybe it's a Bigfoot or something. I open my eyes, and there's a ginormous moose right in front of the car. just running, and I was like just amazed. Like, it's ginormous. Like,
It was running right in front of the car, and it's not like the usual. I've had plenty of moose over the years cross in front of my car, but it was running right in front of the lights, so you could really see basically the behind. It was either a female or likely a female. Otherwise, it was a male that had its antlers really growing in. But that at this point they should be grown in more than that. But man, it was amazing to see it. That was the only moose we saw on the trip, aside from a lot of that moose evidence and some of the stuff that Eli showed earlier. But they're such beautiful animals, really just interesting. So we saw that, and then what about the black bear? Was that your first time seeing a black bear?
No, I've seen black bear in Sequoia National Park and Yosemite. I've seen black bear plenty of times, but I think this was the closest I've ever been to a black bear. I mean, it was literally 10 feet outside of the car, just kind of just chilling. He was like, okay.
He was just eating some leaves or some grass, I don't know.
Yeah,
he was just hanging out, doing his thing.
Yeah, just hanging out. Should I read some of these comments?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's see. Let's go back a little bit. Hello, chat friends. Remiel says this will be exciting to watch.
Thanks, Remiel.
So Stag Shift Josiah says, what's the strongest or most compelling encounter you guys have had out in the field?
Okay. What do you think, Eli? You can go first.
The most compelling encounter? Let me think about it.
Okay.
I have not had any experiences in the field, so can't answer that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. There's definitely been a couple times where something weird was going on, but for me it might be some of the stuff I've had happen in my kind of research area in New Hampshire that was featured a little bit beyond the trail. That has been ongoing. I mean, just a couple weeks ago I was out there and I did some hand claps and I got some responses, wood knocks. I don't know, if that was human or not, but it was definitely interesting. It didn't sound woodpecker. It was, I was hearing plenty of woodpecker that day. Just a lot of that sort of stuff, encounters. But that initial time when I was in there, and this was in Beyond the Trail, the Grand State case, where something was walking around our camp all night, multiple things, and we just didn't even associate it with anything until we heard audio afterwards of pretty strong wood knocks and that kind of stuff. So definitely an interesting question, but let's see what else we got comment-wise.
I can read them off. Let's see. Moose are... Wait. So, from who? The International...
Hiker Dave NE. What's up, Hiker Dave? Hey, how's it going, man?
He says, hello, Sandra. He says the International Crypto Museum is awesome.
Totally.
Oh, dude, it's so sick. Kevin Hamilton says, moose are a problem in Newfoundland. There's so many there are so many there they cause a lot of car accidents. Maine is probably similar given its close proximity to Newfoundland.
Yeah, actually really similar. So Newfoundland and Quebec border Maine. I mean, if you look at where we were on the map, we were basically closer to Quebec City than anywhere else in the United States.
Yeah.
Geographically, it would be closer driving-wise to get to Quebec City than Boston at that point. And Newfoundland being right there, I know Newfoundland's had a lot of moose. Quebec, these areas. Maine actually has the largest population of moose outside of Alaska in the United States. So you might as well just hit a tree trunk if you're hitting a moose. And there's a lot of accidents that happen. People that have watched the show Northwoods Law know that they've covered that in Maine Northwoods Law, but it definitely happens all the time, unfortunately. They're just huge animals. Like the one that we had run in front of us, if that had run out a few seconds later, I mean, I wasn't driving particularly fast in this back road, but we could have plowed right into that thing. So definitely, I know, Kevin, you guys probably have a good amount of those out in Alberta and in Western Canada as well, but Newfoundland and some of these areas, I think I was reading something about New Brunswick, Labrador, some of these areas where some islands, they introduced moose there, and they've become, very plentiful on some of these wooded islands that didn't have moose population previously. Those were obviously introduced by people, but keep going with the comments there.
Yeah. Let's see. Hiker Dave says Maine is vast woodland, perfect for Sasquatch.
Totally.
It looks like Brian and Chewy Go Hiking have a question here. How is the vegetation in overall comparison to New Hampshire region? Similar? Definitely want to get up there with the dog after I finish the 48 and geared towards my hikes, looking around for Sasquatch signs.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously you're hiking the New Hampshire 48 4,000 footers. I finished those up a couple years ago. Beautiful. Basically, it's pretty similar, I'd say, forest-wise. Maine has a lot more pine trees in some areas. I mean, hence the pine tree state. But the forests are pretty similar. They get pretty thick in some of those areas. I mean, we went actually bushwhacking up a mountain yesterday, and that was extremely intense. That was comparable to hiking through the huckleberry thickets there in the Pacific Northwest when we were at the Olympic project a couple months ago. Brutal. I mean, and we're talking in 85-degree heat with a lot of humidity. We were, it was rough. I mean, yeah. Eli, what did you think of that hike?
Oh, I mean, it was definitely brutal. Definitely reminded me of kind of like when we were hiking around the nests and there's just no trail. It was just like
getting whipped in the face
all the time. Just brutal. Like, I mean, I made a joke to Alex, like, my legs always end up getting bruised and battered. I think Alex's legs are actually more messed up than mine right now.
Yeah, I took a couple spills and I tripped actually while trying to get a kayak in the water, and I'm limping now. My leg really took a beating. But yeah, Brian, definitely check out Katahdin, and that's one I still have to hike. We had some really great views of that even today coming out of the woods. Such a beautiful mountain. The Knife's Edge looks like a beautiful hike.
Yeah. North County Bigfoot says he sent the email.
Awesome. Thanks. I will check that out, North County Bigfoot. Estelle Harrington says, we'll watch this later. I have had Sasquatches here in Newry, Maine in the 80s along with UFOs. Oh, very interesting. Newry, Maine. I'm not sure where that is in Maine, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anything else up here?
There's just a lot of talking and...
Okay.
Johnny Brown says, this looks like it's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just excited to show people that. I mean, it's the whole film's not going to be just us running around in the woods. That'll be part of it, but there's some fantastic interviews with these researchers who have been in Maine for so long. You know, Michelle just put out a book about Bigfoot in Maine, which I've been reading. Awesome book. Chris Julian's been doing it for so long, talking to loggers, the Native American groups in the area, so many different people. So it's going to showcase a lot of those stories, I think, in a way that Maine hasn't been shown before, especially in regards to Bigfoot. I think it's probably one of the biggest underrated spots for Bigfoot.
Yeah. Do you want me to read? No. All right, so Johnny Brown says Sasquatch are a lot closer to the city than you might think.
Interesting. I've heard that, especially in some areas closer to the wilderness, you know.
Sure. Hiker Dave says people up here in New Hampshire don't like to talk about Bigfoot because they are very protective of their property, don't want unwanted attention. I think that's pretty accurate for a lot of places.
Yeah, totally. I'd say that's really accurate, especially for New Hampshire, New England in general. That's something that Crystal Panic, you know, who I interviewed, was a researcher in New Hampshire with the BFRO. And just people I've experienced talking to people in New Hampshire, they don't really want a whole lot to do with it. Maybe if they tell you their story, they'll do it reluctantly. Now, what I found in Maine, talking to some of those researchers I interviewed, was that there's a very, very big reluctance, especially people who live close to the land. They don't want to share those stories while they're employed in the logging. Keeping on a few more minutes here. Okay, I don't know if we're back now. Connection kind of cut out a little bit.
It looks like we're back. You want to start off with a comment?
Sure.
Let's see. Johnny Brown says Sasquatch are in New York. That's true.
Is it true?
Yeah, I mean, they just
messing.
Yeah.
Well, as on the trail Bigfoot, the journey's about to come out about Sasquatch in New York.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Estelle Harrington says too much cutting of the woods with berries and nut trees are lost. lots of their food sources have disappeared.
I guess it depends where you go. I mean, up there, I have no doubt that there's so much. We were talking millions of acres of untouched land that basically just has logging roads going through it. And they do log a lot of that, but there's just nothing but trees up there.
Yeah, and you guys will see that in the documentary.
Totally.
So, Stag Shift Zayas says, what's your favorite small town monsters doc? And are you guys pro kill or no kill?
Favorite small town monsters doc?
Mine's The Beast of Bray Road. Seth Breedlove, you may be watching this watching this live stream. I just need you to know this. Can you get me a signed copy of Beast of Bray Road?
That's a tough one. Oh man, I think this is not going to really be fair because I'm biased, but the new one that's coming out, On the Trail of Bigfoot: The Journey, not because I was involved in it, but maybe partially because I was involved in it.
100%.
Because it's like an emotional journey. It's more about the journey of not necessarily Sasquatch itself, but reconnecting with nature and just everything. I don't know. Really just kind of resonated with me. But aside from that, probably Boggy Creek Monster is my favorite. That was like one that I watched that a few times back when it was first coming out. I mean, at this point, like 2016 or 17. I just really loved how atmospheric it was, and it like really inspired me when I went to Fouke, Arkansas, and I could almost hear, some of the soundtrack that Brandon did for that film. Really, really loved it. And as for the second part of the question, pro kill, no kill, I don't know. It's a tough question. I'm not really like a hunter or a killer or anything like that. I think if one was killed accidentally, that would be okay. I don't think that's really likely to happen, or if it is, we don't really know. I mean, but I think we can get to a point where we can collect enough evidence where we don't need to actually kill an individual. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that's just the way I see it.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
Jumping in for
the hope is, like you said, maybe one day one just steps out in front of a car, in front of a semi,
flips the car over,
gets smashed, horrible situation, and yes, that would be killing one, but it would be an accident.
Right.
But I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I am pro kill. I just don't see anyone believing in Sasquatch. Like, the scientific community is not going to accept hair samples or footprints. They're gonna just explain it away like they always do. And until there is a body there that they can't deny.
But who's to say they wouldn't do that with a body too?
Because the body, it would just be overwhelming, I feel like.
But I think if you had, let's say, clear video, talking patty level quality, coupled with fingerprint evidence with data, hair follicles with data, fecal matter, footprint matter. I mean, we're talking like all these different pieces of evidence. Like, let's say you had one specific sighting, you were able to pull hair, tracks, video, and maybe a DNA sample, another DNA sample off of it. That would be a pretty full spectrum. That's been done with certain types of primates, certain types of monkeys in Africa and other parts of the world. And I don't think Bigfoot is just some type of monkey, but I think that might be a more, humane way to go about it.
Right.
But thanks for the question. It's pretty cool.
Let's see. Okay, so Kevin Hamilton says the Viking Eric the Red discovered Newfoundland hundreds of years ago before Columbus found America, and he told stories of large hairy man creatures there. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day, because he does describe them as being hairy.
Swarthy, right? I think the word was like swarthy or something.
Something like that. And you would think, traffic situation. You would think, Native Americans aren't necessarily known for being hairy. I don't know. It's just an interesting detail to note.
It's a cool story, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So Phil C says government will probably not let a body be known, in my opinion.
Could be. I mean, who the heck knows at this point?
Yeah. Johnny Brown says, I believe that Sasquatch are hunted and have been hunted by the government. I don't know.
It's possible. I know the government definitely hunt us for our tax dollars.
Yeah, true.
Just joking, but it's true.
Remiel says, it makes sense to think that the powers that have already collected a body... Oh, sorry, my bad. It makes sense that the powers that be have already collected a body, and some scientists already know what a Bigfoot's nature is. That's possible. I mean, there's those stories that come out of Mount St. Helens when it erupted back in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, this is like that the government conspiracy stuff. I think people get really hung up on it because I think. Wait, hold on. Let me see it again. I must have taken the wrong turn. I wasn't paying attention. We still got to navigate to get back. So, sorry guys, but that whole government conspiracy thing, I think people really get hung up on that a lot. But I think it comes down to, they've probably looked into it. I mean, there's been publicly disclosed files about the FBI looking into supposed Bigfoot sightings. We see this whole UFO thing going on. Whether or not that's legit or not, I mean, can we really trust the government in a lot of sense? Most people won't. You take a room full of people, regardless of their political affiliation, they probably don't have a very favorable view of the government. So I take a little bit of take it with a grain of salt what they say in regards to a certain topic. I don't need them to tell me that this thing is real, basically. So,
right.
But I do think it's interesting that they are kind of looking into that.
That was it.
But okay, anyway.
Just focus on the navigation.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I'm going to keep reading comments, and I will be talking as Alex tries to get us home. Let's see. Kim Perez says, I agree, Johnny Brown. Oh, this is the middle of a conversation here. So Johnny Brown says, park rangers have come forward and spoke on seeing Bigfoot. Yeah,
there's been stories about that for sure. I know a couple that have actually told stories like that.
Oh,
you know, one of them is John Wilk, who's been on the show. He used to be a park ranger in Massachusetts and had an interesting encounter. It's actually in On the Trail of Bigfoot, The Journey, his story, but he's talked about it on the show. I had him on the live stream back in like May of 2020 at this point, right when I started the show. So definitely interesting to hear firsthand perspective from those guys that are out there all the time. So, yeah, definitely cool. You can turn that off now. We're good. Okay.
Media said the government is going to release classified info about UFOs with this new disclosure. That's from Phil C.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, again, grain of salt. You know, who knows? I've heard the idea float around, motivation being increasing in military budgets. You know, how many times has there been talk about UFO disclosure and trickling out little info to the public and giving people tidbits and little sound bites? So I don't know. I guess when it comes to Sasquatch, you see the way the media treats it, even serious stories, and then they'll always kind of joke about it. And it turns into a big joke. So you can see why a lot of people don't want to come public with their stories if that's the way it's treated. By general, I mean, we're talking like 90+% of the population just thinks it's pretty much a joke, unfortunately, or just thinks it's some kind of it's like a kid's thing or something from movies. Harry and the Hendersons, big for the horror movies, whatever. Yeah. I don't know if you want to just check a few more of those before we start winding down here.
Kevin Hamilton says, okay, say you happen across a dead mother Bigfoot and next to it is its still newborn baby Bigfoot still alive. No other Bigfoot seem to be around. What do you do? Ooh, man. That is a great question. You keep it, dude. You keep it and you raise it.
Definitely.
I mean, dude, I honestly, jeez, could you imagine raising a Bigfoot? Like, how much food would that take?
We don't know anything about it.
You would definitely learn a lot. Man, that would be such a big risk in so many ways.
Right.
And
you can only hope. I mean, that's the humane thing to do. Hopefully you can save it at least, or I don't see a scenario where that might happen. I think it seems like they're very protective of their own family members, stuff like that, at least from what we've heard in encounters and things along those lines. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to leave it there.
Yeah, absolutely not. So it seems like we're getting close to home.
Yeah, we're gassed out at this point. We're just getting real tired.
We're getting gassed. We've been on the road. We left at 9:50 this morning from our campsite.
It's now about 10:18.
And we haven't
EST.
been. Yeah, it's about 10:18 PST.
EST.
Oh, EST. I was
Eastern
like,
Standard
I think
Time.
you're wrong, Chief. And we stopped in a bunch of places along the way, so it wasn't all just straight driving. But yeah, we're a little tired.
Yeah, we're definitely winding out, but just wanted to do a quick stream. I know I said last week I would do some kind of a stream recap, so this was pretty much just the idea since we had some time to kill. So thanks everyone who decided to comment and throw in some questions and whatnot. And I don't know if there's anything else comment-wise going on, but yeah, Kevin there with that interesting question there at the end.
All right. I guess that's it, huh?
Will you do a group type meeting this summer? Asks Moonbeam. I'm not sure what you mean by that. As in like on the live stream or meeting with other people? I don't know. If you want to let me know what you mean by that, I'd be happy to answer it. But we definitely will do more live streams with other people on. It seems to be fun when we do like a panel kind of thing with multiple folks. Definitely going to be very busy this summer though. We have a lot of projects coming up, so Eli is kind of my right-hand man at this point when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we're keeping busy, but yeah, I'm really excited for some of the stuff we have coming up, for getting this out, as well as some of the other content and just documentaries and just furthering the research. So yeah.
All right, y'all.
Guy 15 says, I'd love to visit Maine one of these days. Definitely do. It's a beautiful, amazing place. Just bring a bug net if you're going up into the woods in Maine. It gets bad, but it's like that in a lot of northern climates. So all right, guys, thanks again for everyone who tuned in. Good night, everybody. There will be a show next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Kenzie Gleason talking about wood devils and Bigfoot stuff in New Hampshire. So we're moving back to New Hampshire from Maine, so that'll be fun. But yeah, everybody take it easy. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you guys later.